The glass clinked softly as Commander Jack Merrick leaned back in his chair, the dark amber liquid swirling like a storm in his hand. Outside the wide panoramic windows of the Sentinel-72, Earth floated in silence, untouched and unaware. The old warship creaked around him like an aging beast dreaming of past glories. It hadn't flown a real mission in years, but neither had Jack. Retirement, they called it. Jack called it being shelved. Across from him sat Charlie, a humanoid combat mech with exposed servos and a titanium spine that gleamed under the bridge's sterile lights. He sat with perfect posture, unmoving except for the subtle rise and fall of his synthetic chest, an affectation Jack had programmed in as a joke years ago. "You're brooding again," Charlie said, his voice metallic but calm. Jack sipped the whiskey. "No, just remembering. They say memory is the enemy of peace." Jack chuckled. Whoever said that never had to command an orbital fire team with one good knee and 6 less friends. The quiet settled between them. Outside, 2 interceptor jets streaked past, vapor trails curling like signatures in the sky. Jack watched them go with something between envy and nostalgia. He'd once commanded fleets. Now he watched training runs from a glorified lounge chair on a ship that the Defense Authority had turned into a diplomatic observation post, a retirement cruise ship with military wallpaper. They called it an honor. He called it a joke. "I picked up something on the long-range array," Charlie said, suddenly sitting forward. Jack raised an eyebrow. "Are we really doing this again? You know Earth Command doesn't even bother updating our threat recognition grid. This wasn't from the grid. It's off-chart. Raw data. Deep band." Jack stood, the old joints in his knees clicking like worn-out gearboxes. He moved to the console, ignoring the half-hearted protest of a sore hip. The screen flickered, bathing his weathered face in blue light. An anomalous energy signature pulsed steadily. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything they'd cataloged. Jack exhaled through his nose. Why is it always during happy hour? Charlie tilted his head. "Shall I notify Earth Command?" Jack considered. Earth Command would tell them to stand down. They always did. Send a quiet ping to the old net. Just the retired. No official channels. "You believe it's hostile?" "I believe it's interesting. And I'm tired of being bored." Charlie's hands danced over controls with inhuman precision. Somewhere deep in the ship, long-deactivated systems rumbled awake. Lights flickered. Shields stirred. The Sentinel-72, long considered ceremonial, was waking from its slumber. The screen beeped. The signal had shifted, mimicking Earth's old military protocols, as if it were learning. "That's not good," Jack muttered. "You think it's AI? Or something that thinks AI is a good cover?" Another ping, this time encrypted. Jack's eyes narrowed. It used a code he hadn't seen since the last Earth-Martian conflict. It was a call sign buried so deep only one class of soldier would recognize it, those marked K Alpha Prime. Retirement class. Ghosts. Did we just get recruited? Charlie asked. Jack tapped the screen gently, almost fondly. "Looks like someone out there thinks we're still useful." Charlie's processors whirred faintly. "We're retired." Jack grinned. "We're just no longer on the roster. Doesn't mean we forgot how to dance." He walked over to the corner of the bridge and pulled a dusty case from beneath an emergency panel. Inside was a matte black sidearm with his initials carved into the grip. He held it like a relic, fingers tracing grooves made during real wars. Not simulations, not drills. The ship's comm crackled. A voice came through, weathered and sarcastic. "Is this Merrick? I swear if you call me out of bed for another damn asteroid." "Hi, Collins," Jack said. "Hope you haven't gotten too soft running that lunar bar." "Define soft. You've got my attention. What are we dealing with?" Jack looked again at the alien signal, now pulsing faster, as if responding to their activity. "Something that knows how to say hello in our dead languages," he replied. "Something that doesn't believe in retirement." There was a beat of silence, then laughter on the line. Another voice joined. Then another. The old net was waking up. One by one, the forgotten defenders of Earth checked in, some from underground bunkers, others from remote ships floating in asteroid belts. Men and women discarded by official protocol, but still very much alive. Still wired for war. Charlie stood. Orders, Commander? Jack downed the last of his whiskey, then smashed the glass against the floor with ceremonial flair. The echo rang out like a shot. Let's see what this thing wants. And let's remind the galaxy what retired really means. Below the Sentinel, Earth continued to spin peacefully. Unaware, unready, unconcerned. But Jack was wide awake now. And he wasn't alone. The conference room deep within Earth Command's orbital citadel shimmered with artificial light. Holographic projections spun lazily above the polished black table. Charts, pulses, incomprehensible data loops. The room was crowded with generals, diplomats, and analysts. All of them were talking, but none of them were listening. Across the room, Director Helena Vos strode in like a storm front, silencing noise with presence alone. Sharp eyes, sharper tone. Someone explained to me how a dead protocol from 50 years ago got activated by a civilian decommissioned vessel, she snapped. A younger analyst, too fresh for fear, raised a hand. Commander Jack Merrick, Code Alpha Prime, engaged emergency warband after intercepting an unidentified transmission. Cross-reference with alien code, possible mimicry of retired Earth protocols. Impossible. No alien culture could replicate our encrypted legacy protocols. Unless, said a gravelly voice, they weren't just imitating. They were testing for response. All heads turned as a hologram of Jack Merrick resolved into view, grainy, unsanctioned, live from the Sentinel 72. Director, Jack said with a casual salute, nice of you to finally join the conversation. Helena's face tightened. You don't have clearance for this channel. Jack smiled. Funny thing about retirement, no one left to sign my permission slips. Stand down, Merrick. We're handling it. The diplomatic corps has been briefed. Jack gestured off-screen, and the image flickered to the alien signal. It was no longer just pulsing. It was forming shapes, structures, a mockery of Earth military insignia from 5 eras, blended and distorted, almost taunting. They're not trying to talk, Jack said. They're trying to provoke. This is a challenge. A predator testing our herd for weakness. Earth Command is not a herd, Helena snapped. Then stop acting like one. The room froze. No one spoke. Helena's jaw clenched, but she didn't deny the accusation. Across space, a diplomatic shuttle drifted toward the source of the signal. On board were 3 of Earth's finest negotiators, armed with nothing but goodwill and caution. The ship shimmered with soft blue light, broadcasting peace codes and non-aggression signals. For 37 seconds, there was no reply. On the 38th, the signal changed. Without warning, a beam of focused kinetic energy tore through the shuttle's hull, splitting it like paper. No warning, no demand, no chance. Helena watched the feed in stunned silence. No survivors, someone whispered. The air went cold. Across the system, Earth's defense grid activated. It was sluggish, disoriented, an aging bureaucracy trying to remember how to run. Now do you believe me? Jack asked quieter now. Helena turned away from the console. What do they want? They want to see what happens when Earth bleeds. In the shadows of deep space, the alien crafts emerged, sleek, black vessels shaped like thorns. Stealth-capable, weaponized, dozens of them. And they weren't broadcasting anymore. They were moving. Charlie's voice crackled into the line. Sentinel, 72 has activated combat systems. We are fully operational. Helena stared at the data stream. You can't take on a fleet, Jack. You're just one ship. I'm not planning to take them alone. Across the private network Jack had quietly reawakened, pings echoed like war drums. Commander Ava Collins powered up a derelict lunar defense cannon buried under the old moon base. Raj Malik, long presumed dead, hijacked a defunct mining rig and turned it into a railgun. From oceans, deserts, orbital wrecks, dozens of them, the retired, not officially sanctioned, not officially needed, but very much alive. Earth's mainline forces scrambled, young pilots launching, ships deploying, systems blinking into readiness. But it was chaos, too many protocols, too much red tape, And in that space between bureaucracy and instinct, the first alien strike team slipped past the grid. Jack, Helena said, quiet now. We need your people. Jack didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He just nodded. We'll buy you time. Charlie locked in coordinates. They're targeting Earth orbit platforms. Civilian arrays first. Jack placed a hand on Charlie's shoulder. Let's show them what old bones can do. The Sentinel 72 turned. Its engines roar with life they weren't supposed to still have. Panels unfolded. Weapons long thought ceremonial charged with real power. This was no museum piece. It was a beast in hibernation, teeth sharpened by years of silence. Jack broadcast on all open enemy frequencies. This is Earth, and you made a very bad assumption. Then they jumped into the fire, and behind them, across the stars, the Forgotten woke. The vacuum of space lit up like a battlefield from ancient myth, silent, searing, and sudden. Plasma bursts cracked across the void as the Sentinel 72 dove between two thorn-shaped alien vessels, its shields flaring with each glancing blow. Jack gripped the armrest, feeling the tremor of every impact rumble through the bones of the ship, and his own. Charlie moved with precise calm, calculating angles, returning fire with brutal efficiency. They're not just fast, Jack muttered, watching the alien ships weave and pivot unnaturally. They're learning. Charlie's voice stayed even. Adaptive programming, likely harvesting real-time data from our response patterns. So, we keep changing the rhythm. He keyed in an attack pattern, one that hadn't been used since the last Martian push. It was chaotic, unorthodox, and by all modern standards, wildly inefficient. That made it perfect. The Sentinel spun in a corkscrew, releasing a spread of smart missiles in unpredictable vectors. One of the alien ships hesitated a moment too long, an error in its learning curve, and was shredded into metal fragments. See, Jack said with a dry grin. Old dogs, new tricks. But the grin didn't last. Commander, Charlie said, they're targeting the Cradle Net. Jack's face hardened. The Cradle Net was Earth's last-tier defense system, designed to protect cities and civilian infrastructure, more ceremonial than functional now. Most of it hadn't been tested in 2 decades, but that didn't matter. The enemy was headed straight for it. If it fell, Earth would bleed for real. Can we intercept? Jack asked. Not from here, but I've triangulated another solution. Charlie brought up a map. A small asteroid cluster hung in space, mostly ignored for decades. But buried in one of those rocks was a forgotten railgun. Project Argus, decommissioned, buried, classified, and sealed. Only 2 people had access to it. Jack was one. The other was Ava Collins. Patch her through. Her voice came through mid-battle, crisp and unshaken. About time you asked. Think you can light up Argus? Already there. Need 30 minutes to realign the coils. You have 12. She laughed. You always were romantic. The transmission cut as she got to work. Jack turned back to the enemy formation. Several ships were already veering toward the atmosphere. He could feel time folding in on itself. Decisions now were seconds away from consequence. Behind them, more pings on the old net. Raj Malik's mining rig turned railgun roared to life. From deep orbit, ex-Commander Boone piloted what looked like a junk freighter, but moved like a knife, lancing 2 enemy scouts with a disguised beam emitter. Each retired, Warrior added their own brand of improvisation, drawing fire away from the planet, sowing confusion among the aliens' ranks. They weren't prepared for this, Charlie said. Jack didn't answer. He was watching the enemy ships change formation. It was subtle, but they were adapting again, learning from the chaos, from the improvisation. As if they weren't just observing, mimicking. They're parsing our tactics, Jack muttered. Which means they know this isn't Earth's front line, Charlie finished. Jack's stomach dropped. They're not here to test us. They're here to measure our decline. Silence. Then a new signature appeared on the scans, larger than the rest. Uncloaked, it was a command vessel or something like it, twice the size of a capital cruiser, sleek and cruel-looking, shaped like a crescent blade. It drifted forward slowly, as if savoring the moment. "This one's the Alpha," Jack said. "The Shepherd," and it was moving toward the cradle net. Suddenly, the channel lit up with Ava's voice. "Argus is ready. Feed me the coordinates." Charlie transmitted, without a word. The asteroid gun adjusted its aim, magnetic coils humming with raw force. Time slowed. The alien command ship veered slightly. Only slightly, but enough to throw the aim off by several degrees. "Charlie," Jack said quietly, "can we get closer?" "Not without drawing every weapon on that ship." Jack stood. "Then we do exactly that." He took the helm. Charlie turned. "Manual control?" Jack nodded. "They want to see what retirement looks like. Let's show them up close." The Sentinel 72 flared its engines and charged forward, bright as a sun in the darkness. Enemy fire tracked immediately, lighting the void with deadly brilliance. But Jack kept the ship steady, flying straight into the path of the Alpha vessel, painting a perfect target for Argus. "Ava," he said, his voice calm. "Now." The asteroid cannon fired. The projectile, massive and near light speed, sang silently through space. It struck the Alpha ship amidships, splitting it nearly in two. Light exploded outward, washing everything in pale gold. The smaller ships faltered, their coordination stuttering. The mimicry broke. Cheers erupted across the old net. Jack exhaled. "That'll do." Charlie scanned. Cradle net remains intact. Remaining enemy units are retreating. "Good," Jack said, collapsing back into his chair. "Let them tell the rest what they found here." Charlie turned to look at him. "And what did they find?" Jack stared at her through the viewport, blue and calm as ever. "They found out Earth doesn't forget her warriors." The stars around them flickered, dimmed, and fell quiet. But Jack could feel it in his bones. This wasn't the end. It was only the opening move.